Hi, everyone. This is Chrissie Ferguson with the Wishlist Foundation. I'm here with the Copper Trees, Eric Lilavois, and Kate Neckel. And we're going to be talking about their creative process in writing their album that's going to be coming up and coming out April 9th. So we're just going to start out with talking about how this whole album came to be. You all started with a couple of singles. One came out in 2020, Eyes. So my big question is you had Eyes come out, then First Light just came out in 2021, correct?
Correct.
And so did you plan to just have singles come out, and then as you were working together, you thought, let's put an album together? Or was there always a plan to create an album together?
Eric, do you want to jump in?
Hi.
Hi, Chrissie. Thanks for having us,
Hi,
by the
Chrissie.
way. This is amazing.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure. What an honor to have you both. I just love your sound, and I can't wait for the world to hear it.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so awesome. There was no grandiose plan to put like a full record together. It definitely was sort of like this first collection of songs that everything sort of built off of from there. And I ironically, Eyes ends up as being kind of the last song on the record, but it was really kind of the first one that we pushed out there to the world.
I think that when we started creating songs together, they pretty quickly started feeling like almost characters in a movie or scenes in a film. And as we started to, add more songs to the mix, we let it evolve into what it wanted to be. And it went from, okay, let's make, an EP. And then it became, let it be an album and then once the story was kind of told, then that was that. But we just kind of followed the process and our inspiration.
And so with the video for Eyes, did you collaborate with Ryan? Did you know him prior to the filming of that? Or how did you decide to choose Ryan Corey to help direct that film?
Well, Ryan kind of found both of us. Like, he had known Kate, through her artwork and the work with Infinite Color and Sound as well. And then he was familiar with my work as a producer and London Bridge and the history there. So he actually reached out to us and wanted to just stop by, and a whole, creative kind of conversation, collaboration started there.
Yeah. Did you provide him? Oh, sorry, Kate, go ahead.
No, I was going to say maybe what you're about to ask about was just, we started talking initially about how the song evolved with Eric and I looking at each other for the recording. It was one take, and we looked each other in the eyes and we sang the song to each other, and we spoke about that intimacy and that, intention around capturing, kind of what you feel in the song. It's this very connected, very dialed in moment or, song. And so we spoke with him a lot about bringing that across, and as well as our love of the French New Wave, style of filmmaking, and just the very direct approach to stripping away everything that wasn't necessary and just capturing the spirit of the song and just the pureness of it.
Yeah, and I think he did a great job capturing that. It's you can tell from the song, just listening to it and then seeing the video, there is this sort of, mysteriousness to it, but also that intimacy that you're talking about, that it wants you want to keep watching, you want to keep listening, and you can kind of see the relationship, between the two of you. And it's something that I think a lot of people, especially people, I know that you all are not a couple, right?
Right. Yeah.
But as someone who collaborates together on music, it's really special because you can see through this song in particular that deep collaboration that you have. And
That's great.
yeah, and I also I saw that, I felt that with First Light as well. And was that also directed by Ryan?
Yeah, so for First Light, we haven't, he captured the image that you see that accompanies that single. Eric, do you want to speak anything about First
he
Light?
did a live
Oh, right.
sort of live version of that one. And that was just captured. That was us just playing it in the studio. And then we worked with him on a couple others that we're really excited to to debut alongside or a little bit after the record. One of them's a song called Hidden View, which we're super excited about those visuals. We just got a little sneak peek of it today.
Right before we got on with you. Yeah, we just saw. Yeah, so
Is that the one where you all are in the car?
Yeah. We had our COVID road trip, we finally got to take a little trip, have a little wind in the hair, and with a green screen.
That looked like a lot of fun. Well, good. And so tell me a little bit about writing and creating this album together. I know that I was watching one of the talks that you had with your 3 questions, and you were talking about how it kind of came together more quickly than you had anticipated that it would. Maybe that had a little bit to do with COVID and having, the communication, talking to each other about it during that time period, so that when you got into the studio, it happened more quickly. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. Tell me a little bit about the process. Was it a quick process or?
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, our conversations were to the max. It's like we communicate every day, and that was definitely alive and well and started early on in the process. But really, such a high volume of the creating was happening while we were in studio together, and in very few takes. This record isn't something that's like massively overproduced. It's quite the opposite. It's like very, very true to sort of the songs as we were experiencing them. But we traded voice memos back and forth, and we'd talk and sort of build the songs out that way. Or Kate would wake up with a thought, with a line, and then we'd go back and forth, just ping ponging, sort of writing lines together. It was a really cool process.
Yeah, it's kind of like how spoken before about passing notes. We're all in our 40s, or maybe, I don't know how old you are, Chrissie, but it's like, we used to write notes in middle school and like fold up notes on paper and pass notes. And like, that's kind of our, that's like what Eric was saying, like I'll wake up with something, scribble it down, send him a screenshot. We iterate back and forth all day long like that, with visuals and thoughts. And the songs, really, I don't know if it was COVID or, it's like magic, this kind of songwriting experience. I think part of it maybe was, the world was shut down in so many ways and things were very focused in terms of, no school pickups, like we had a lot of time and space to create that way.
Right.
So
now, you're an artist, and so how did you transition into this musician part of your life? I know that you were starting. I think that you were reaching out to Eric initially, and then he was also reaching out to you at the same time. How did that all come to be that you decided to collaborate on this?
So I was trying to find a producer to work with to record some of the songs that I'd written during my time with Infinite Color and Sound. During my project with Mike, I started writing songs, playing guitar, and making music, I guess. And I I remember that, Eric had seen, he had attended one of the Winston Wachter performances that Mike and I had done. And as soon as I remembered him, like it was like Goldilocks and the Three Bears or something. I'm just like trying to find my person, and it's a hard thing to put into words, but when you find the right fit. And then all of a sudden I was sitting at the kitchen table and I told my husband, I'm like, I know who it is. It's the guy with the hat. It's Eric. That's who I need to work with. And so I text him, and he was at the Grammys, and he wrote me back, and, it was one of these things. We met at London Bridge, and it was pretty immediate. I mean, we sat down, we got to work, but then within a matter of a day, it was like, we're going to be a band. Like, this is a deeper collaboration. And that was also very frightening to jump into. But yeah, it was just a matter of just like how you put paintings in a gallery, or you finalize artwork. Like, I wanted to finalize these songs and just get a recording for myself. My intention was just like, let me document these songs that I made. And then here we are now with an album and, a bandmate. And I'm so grateful that we both decided to jump in.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak to that, Eric? Were you seeking out Kate at the same time? She was thinking you were
yeah.
I
mean, I certainly was interested in collaborating in any sort of way, shape, or form. There was a recognition of just something there, some potential there, but I certainly wasn't expecting to gain a bandmate. It's not like either of us sort of began this journey with that intention, but it was just so right in front of us. Once we started getting to work, it was just like, I come home, go to bed after working on something, and you're still working on it in your sleep, and you wake up and you're working on it, and it's just kind of like, we'd be crazy not to do this together in a more elevated form than just like working on a few songs together, or just getting something, down for the sake of getting it down. So I think both of us had, as you're sort of alluding to, like this, we have other things that we're doing. So there's this hesitation where it's like, are we, really?
It's like, we're going to do this. Like, I'm 45. I already, we both have these careers. We all have all this stuff going on. It's like, I'm going to join a band now. I'm going to make a band. Like,
why not?
Why not?
Why not?
It was like, it was great.
Especially when it's as special as it is. So.
Exactly.
So, Eric, how is it different from what you've worked on in the past in your music career and as a producer and an owner of London Bridge Studio and all of this? Like, how is this musically different for you in your career?
I mean, musically, it's actually really, really cool and interesting in the sense that, like, I mean, you're always focusing on the song, no matter what, even if it's a big rock band, nothing flies unless there's a good song there. But even more so with what Kate and I are doing, just having the two of us and like really being able to hone in on our voices and the mood that we want to create with such simple sort of instruments and approaches. It just that really stands out to me as being special. And there's no loud drums to hide behind. There's no there's no fog machines, no flashy lights. It's kind of us up there doing our thing. It's which is really cool.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, please.
No, I was just gonna say, I like I was saying earlier, I really love the sound. Like you said, it's nothing flashy. It's just this pure sound. Your voices, both of your voices are amazing. And then just having that guitar and that kind of would lead me into the next question, because Kate, when I listen to your voice, I think of I don't know if you ever listened to Edie Brickell or Shannon Worrell. Like that's like, I was like, that's who it is.
That's
it
cool.
really sounds so much like that. And I loved them, growing up.
Wow.
And for either of you, is there anyone who's really an inspiration to the way that, that helped influence the way that your voice sounds or the way that you play the guitar? I know there are a lot of people I'm sure that you love to listen to, but I'm just wondering if there's anybody who kind of you feel like has influenced the way that you sound or you play.
I think that, well, by the way, I remember that Edie Brickell album with the cover, Shooting Rubber Band to the Stars. I love the visuals. So like, I feel like, wow, I haven't thought about that in a while. And thank you for that. I think that for me, like just starting to use my voice has been a hurdle for me, because that's how this all started. When I was working with Mike, I was terrified of singing. Like I've always wanted to sing, but I didn't even, so just, for me, the most important references or things I've thought about are like old Rolling Stones albums, like the song Sway. You can hear like a breath being like, you can hear the breath, you can hear like the sound. I love hearing the crackle of the voice. I love the pureness, the underproduced quality of those types of records, Exile on Main Street. And then of course, like early things like, Nico from the Velvet Underground, or just because I thought, oh, I have a deeper voice, or, we all think our voice maybe sounds strange, or I don't know. It's all very new to me. So just, I think just opening up my voice, and Eric has helped me a lot with that. Just, we'll just sit in the studio and he's just like, okay, just play, just, keep going with it. So it's just been like a tool, like a paintbrush or a pen, just getting used to using it, and like, all right, I'm going to dip it in the paint and here we go again. And that's how I feel about my voice. So, and then for guitar, it's just, who knows? That is something, when I was learning, I asked, Mike always said, don't watch videos, don't try and learn, just keep letting your style evolve and don't think about it. Don't try and learn, just, you have a cool style, just keep playing the way you do. So it's definitely its own sound, and it's pretty wonky, and but
well, I love it.
Thank you.
I know everybody's gonna love it when they hear the album.
Thank you.
What about you, Eric?
Well, we left. I think our approach kind of like left space for us to truly kind of find our own voice, like Kate is describing. There wasn't ever like a conversation which I often have with artists that I produce, where you're sitting there talking a lot about who influences you and what you want the sound exactly to be and things like that. We didn't really have those conversations.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like there was so much room and freedom to find ourselves, and there'd be times where, like Kate's describing, where just a breath or something that someone else might perceive as a mistake, where we're both looking at each other going like, yeah, that's it. That's it. So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So how about the album name, Rêver? How did that come to be? Rêver. Which is to dream, for those who don't know, to dream in French.
That's right.
So how, Eric, I know there's a little bit of a story behind that with a book or something.
Yeah, my grandmother, so my parents are from Haiti, but my grandmother used to teach French lessons. She would tutor like some neighbors and things like that, after she was retired, and she just had this gorgeous French book. It's so incredibly old, and that she just always, that was her tool, never changed over the years, and she ended up giving it to me, and we were thinking about a bunch of imagery from it for the record. It's got these just amazing photographs and drawings and things like that in there.
Yeah.
Illustrations, yeah. But it ended up giving us a name instead, and really the name like absolutely came was solidified once we shot the artwork for the album. We were in this little a photographer, Austin Wilson, who's brilliant. He's a genius, dear friend. He found this little what would you say, Kate? It's like
like
this
a little
country
cottage in
cottage.
Seattle. It's this little house,
Yeah,
and we shot in this magical garden, and it felt like a
yeah,
dream, and it was like this real deja vu moment. And when they were like, okay, the photo looks like a dream, and the
yeah,
cover, that image of us just having a hug, that was at the end of this session. Actually, we just we're like, okay, we're done here, and we just had a little hug, and then that became the
yeah,
album cover, because that just kind of captured the spirit of the connection and the dreamlike vibe of the album.
yeah.
Great. Well, I love the name.
Thank you.
So let's go to talking a little bit, if you don't mind, Kate, touching on Infinite Color and Sound.
Sure.
So that happened prior to your music career, and that's kind of what opened, as you were saying, opened up the doors to this album and to your collaboration with Eric. So can you tell us a little bit about that experience? And I'm so curious because I know that there was a lot of paint involved on stage, music, a little bit maybe acting. So I would love to know, since I didn't get to see it, what it was like.
I mean, it was definitely, so that project started because Mike's wife, Ashley, commissioned me to do a piece for their home, did a painting. Then they came to see a show that I had up at the Winston Wachter Gallery here in Seattle. And Mike and I started talking about painting and New York and music and, photography and all these things. And we both were talking about how we had both wanted to combine all those elements, but we never had, and we'd never met somebody that wanted to do the same thing. And so then fast forward, we decided to give it a go. We had our first show in Seattle at the same gallery. And it was just based on, a combination of, like you said, live performance. We played some songs that I wrote, as well as doing a few covers. But then we also had elements of I played the guitar in my wild whatever way, and Mike would paint, and then we would switch and he would paint. And so it was just about Mike, becoming a painter, and both of us trying to do things that made us terrified, basically, and then playing along the way. We really were like kids, and we just had these mannequins that we found. One day I had we just collected what we were interested in, and then we just kind of played with them. And then the show ended in Seattle, and then it went on. We did a little tour, like you mentioned in your note to me, Joseph Arthur. We went to New York, and Joseph joined us there. And Josh from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, or former Chili Pepper, joined us. It just became this kind of music and art live painting experience where we just followed our intuition, and bodies were painted, and it was a great time.
Oh, I bet it was so much fun.
So,
and then being able to show your artistic ability in different ways, and like you said, going out of your comfort zone
totally.
in different ways too. I mean, I think that, and then it's in front of an audience too, correct?
Yeah, I mean, Eric was there. He could probably speak to it.
What was that like, Eric?
I remember walking in, and Kate and Mike are duct taped to the wall, and with duct tape over their mouths and sunglasses on, and I was just like, "F yeah, like this is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be awesome." And it was just so cool to see them run, from station to station, and it was like everybody moved along with them, and it really felt like a happening. It was just like it felt cool to be there, and to follow through the whole building with them, and that just felt perfectly timed, and I couldn't tell whether it was choreographed or not, or whether it was. And Kate, you're just hearing some of the stuff for the first time. We haven't really talked very much about it, but it just it's really cool, and that playfulness just came right through.
Yeah, it was not choreographed. We never knew. We would have an idea, like we would have tulips, or we would have a Polaroid camera. We'd have certain elements, but we never knew what we were going to do. And if we ever did say like, oh, no, but it always just evolved.
Yeah. And I remember 1 or 2 moments going like, oh God, please don't paint that guitar. Please don't paint that one.
And I did. It was only afterwards I realized, because I didn't understand how valuable these guitars were. Like they are very valuable guitars, and I just had my way with them. Sorry.
I'm sure.
But they were cleaned. But I learned. Yeah, the first night he had to take his shirt off. Because he didn't want to put the guitar against his painted shirt. Yeah, guitars. But I also drew on guitars. I did give him a nice, it's his Tweedy, the Jeff Tweedy, the blue one. But anyway, it was a beautiful mix and so much fun.
It sounds like it. Thanks. So Eric, tell me more about prior to you all forming the Copper Trees, your work as a producer and an owner of London Bridge Studio. Have you been, are you usually present, or were you present for any of these big name bands who've come through the studio? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the studio is in a way like its own living, breathing thing. It's pretty wild how it has its own, folklore and history, and everybody under the Seattle sun, or I guess Seattle rain, has recorded there. Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, the Temple stuff was done there, and then you fast forward all the way up to Dave Matthews' last record, and Fleet Foxes and other folks like that. So those are just monster records, and that London Bridge was just kind of a hub for all these crazy debut albums that were coming out of the region. And my job, my partner's job, basically in relationship to London Bridge, for the last decade plus, has been sort of preserving that history, and then on top of that, making sure that the studio is accessible and progressive for all the artists, that are the next wave and the next generation of incredible art and music coming out of Seattle. Because trust me, there's a lot. So that's sort of the studio component, and then as a producer, kind of in the middle there between the studio and the bands that I work with. Just did a record with Aaron Jones, which I think is fantastic. He's just such a powerhouse artist, and he's been chipping away here in Seattle for quite a while. So that record is, I hope everyone checks that out. That's going to be cool. Another young artist here, King Youngblood, I'm working with currently. So it's it's all, there's so much great stuff coming out of this region, and that space, Kate can speak to the energy in that space. It's palpable.
It's palpable. It's no joke. It's one of those places where you walk into and just, you get goosebumps. You can feel the spirit and the energy, and like and it's not it's a very vibrant, alive energy. It's not a negative or a heavy, dark, there's so much love and creative energy flowing through that space. It's a really tricky place to put into words. You have to, they do tours. I really recommend anybody that can come take a tour of London Bridge, come in, listen to some of your favorite songs, nice and loud. And it's a really,
I was going to ask about that. Is that open right now, Eric, during COVID, tours?
Thankfully we're back. It's back open. So everybody's still all masked up, and, very limited size, but that kind of makes it even better, because, it's sort of a little more intimate, tailored experience. So we do them in the mornings before sessions. And it's really just, going to the website, going to the studio's website and booking a date when someone's in town. And one of the three owners is usually the ones to, me, myself, Jonathan Plum, and Jeff Ott. The three of us own London Bridge, so one of us will typically give the tour. I usually take most of the Pearl Jam friends and family through there. So, but yeah, I'd say if you're an Alice in Chains fan, you probably want to end up with Jeff. If you're a Blind Melon fan, you probably want to end up with Jonathan.
All right. Well, whenever we can travel again and I finally get vaccinated, then I will be doing that tour with you, Eric.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Just, yeah, get ready. Bring tissues. For sure. Still happens to me, not gonna lie.
I'm sure that will happen to me then.
Yes.
Sure. So I'm going to put you all on the spot a little bit, and I'm going to ask, before we tell everybody where to go and pre-order your amazing album, I'd love to know, I know it's a very young creative process, but so far together as a band, what are you most proud of?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Eric, do you want to go first?
I have two. Yeah.
Okay, you go first. I'm still thinking.
I guess I'll go with the first one would be the Smash benefit that we did together. Because this is so sort of early. We're a baby band. There's no sort of way around that. And being part of this Smash benefit that was just so packed with all these amazing artists and peers that we dig so much to come together with them for such an important cause. Smash helps provide healthcare to musicians here in the area who can't afford it, and everything from mental health to dental health to and beyond. So that was really proud that we got to do that. And the other one is much more boring. Just how much we've tackled completely on our own, independently, without having seen like the big label infrastructure and a lot of things that are done for bands. I'm really proud of how much Kate and I have just done things our way and done things on our own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say I'm most proud of co-producing and co-writing this album together. I feel like you never know when you're starting. I'm used to working as a solo individual. We both have these solo careers, basically. He is a producer that works with artists. I'm with my paintings in my studio, and I'm used to working alone, with the exception of, I do collaborations. But diving into a band and the commitment of what we're doing, I'm just so proud of how we've grown together and how we've continued to trust each other and to be honest and to be to work through anything that comes up and to both bring our full spirit and voices to, like I said, co-producing, co-write this album. It's totally 50-50, but 100% from each of us. Mm-hmm. And I'm really proud of that accomplishment.
Well, I can't wait to hear the entire album. Of course I have the singles downloaded, but I have pre-ordered the album.
Yay.
So if you want to tell everybody, it does come out April 9th. If either one of you want to tell us, if there's a website we can go to in addition to iTunes, Spotify, what's the best way to hear you?
Yeah, all the places, anywhere digital, Tidal, Spotify, iTunes. You can buy the record digitally on iTunes. And then for a vinyl copy, just head to our website, thecoppertrees.com, and you can pre-order that there. And the first 50 folks that do that will get a nice little letter from Kate and I.
Copper Trees.
All right.
Copper Trees.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. And Pearl Jam community and anyone else listening to this, you will not be disappointed in listening to the Copper Trees. They are an amazing new band with such a great sound. And we really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And thank you to Wishlist for being so supportive. Also, I remember, the Infinite Color and Sound show at Peak to Sky and at See Here Now, just huge support. And that was my first interaction with the Wishlist Foundation. So, and I know Eric has a history of,
can't wait for COVID to, for the shows to come back and to see you all at some pre-parties and raise some more money for some important causes here.
So very grateful for all you guys do.
Well, thank you so much. We can't wait to be together again too when this is all over. Totally. Hopefully sooner than later.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.